Do futeshim çupat se do fillojmë thuaj. Çupa do futesh se do fillojmë. Leliana me vajzat të jashtë. Okay. So good morning everyone in person and in Zoom. Thank you very much for being in here. Today we are going to have this session in English because not only the panelists but as well the audience that we have in person as well and in Zoom is from different countries, and thank you very much for being here. My name is Erida Tsurai, and I am expert in innovation development in SciDev organization, SciDev Center, which is a Tirana-based think tank that aims to support sustainable economic and in the same time social development and democratization of Albania and in wider region. Next slide, please. At the logo part. Yeah, thank you. So SciDev is excited to co-host together with the Bioscience Institute the National Engagement Event in the Horizon Europe Nations project founded by the European Union. This is an European Union mission for the health soil. Indeed, SciDev in itself, is joining the forces with Horizon Europe in this project as in the line of the core program of its goals, which is that strengthen the research to the society connection and advance the quadruples helix. This event is in the integral component of the Nations project coordinated by Aarhus University in Denmark. The project supports the EU missions called a Soil Deal for Europe, which aims to establish 100 living labs and lighthouses, leading the way the healthy soils by 2030. Albania's event is the 43 taking place across EU association countries, which until now is already implemented 20 activities. The project contributes to the soil mission objectives by mobilizing potential applicants for regional soils health living labs. Open calls founded by the mission through a range of engagement events and capacity building activities with the main reason to have a successful application of the open calls of the soil mission. Next slide, please. Yeah. So today we are going to have a very interesting session in 3 different components, which will be the introduction from the mission and the soil health living labs, lighthouses, and the thematic focus on the 2023 living labs calls. And the second session, which will be done by Milica Trajakovic, and as well from Diana Vujaklia. Okay, thank you. So Milica Trajakovic is the head of Center of Innovation and Business Development by Bioscience Institute, and Diana is the senior expert associated at the Center for Innovation and Business Development. And the second session, the second panel, would be with the Albanian perspective on the mission for soil health according to a Horizon Europe, a strategy plan. Auditor in person and in line is invited to collaborate and address questions at the engaging session. And on the third session of the agenda, a brief introduction of the matchmaking tool is provided by Nations Project, will be open the service provided at his project. Next slide, please. So I would really like that each of you here to read very carefully the regulation of EU that is very important during this kind of session. And if you have anything against, please inform us through this contacts that you have there, and everything will be done as you are goodwill in having. So now I don't want to make it so long, because today we have a very long, let's say, introduction, but very constructive about the project in itself. That's why I would like to give the floor to Milica and Diana about this. Thank you for being here.
Okay, is it working? Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Diana from Bioscience Institute. Thank you for the introduction. I want to welcome all of you here, and of course, those participants that are watching us online. My role here is to present you the soil mission. I'm not a soil expert. Hopefully, we do have some soil experts, especially for the soil in this region here in the audience. However, I'm here to introduce you to the mission, to the expectations of the mission, and to be a sort of a messenger of the mission, to invite you, all of you who are experts on soil, to act towards the soil. Okay. Okay. Is it better now? Okay. To act towards improving soil health and preserving the soils. As you may see on this infographic, soil is essential for all living life on the earth. Basically, soils provide us with food, namely 95% of the food comes from the soil, while the rest of the 5% is, of course, from ocean and water. But also soil provide additional essential ecosystem services, such as clean water. Soil act as a filter for cleaning the water. Soil is also a home for various species on Earth, providing with a biodiversity across the globe. Soil is also a major carbon reservoir, which basically can decrease climate change, but also can make us more resilient to climate issues. Therefore, the mission has defined healthy soils as having the continued capacity to support ecosystem services. Unfortunately, oftentimes soil is just taken for granted, and we all know, most of us know, that soil is non-renewable resource, and it takes a lot of time and money to improve the soil. Yes, unhealthy soils is something that is a global problem. Only in Europe, 2/3 of soil is considered as unhealthy. And the fun fact is that costs associated with the soil degradation only in Europe exceed 50 billion euros per year, which means we are already investing a lot of money to the problems and consequences of unhealthy soils. And now it's time to talk about prevention and to invest money in preventing soil problems. Okay. I will take one step back to help you understand the bigger picture. EU soil mission is just one out of five European missions. EU missions are new ways to bring concrete solutions to our greatest challenges. So basically, there is a set of policy instruments called European Green Deal. Most of you already heard about EU Green Deal. The main aim of EU Green Deal is to provide fresh air, clean water, healthy soils and biodiversity, and healthy and affordable food. I will just list these five EU missions. The first one is adaptation to climate change, which aims at supporting at least 150 European regions and communities to become climate resilient by 2030. Also, there is climate neutral and smart cities. Then we have a mission dedicated to cancer, which aims at improving the lives of more than 3 million people by 2030 through prevention of this disease, but also through improving lives of those that are already ill for them and of course their families. Then we have a mission dedicated to the water, restore our ocean and waters. And finally, we have a soil deal for Europe, which is the mission we are talking about today. The main aim of the EU soil mission is to create 100 living labs and lighthouses to lead the transition towards healthy soils. To achieve this, EU mission has 8 specific objectives, which are the first one, reduce desertification. I will just read it so you can also watch it on the presentation. Conserve and increase soil organic carbon stocks, stop soil sealing and increase reuse of urban soils, reduce soil pollution and enhance restoration, prevent erosion, improve soil structure to enhance soil biodiversity, improve soil literacy in society, and the 7th, basically all other 7 affect this one, but we have it also as a specific objective, reduce the EU global footprint on soils. Now, living labs and lighthouses, of course, do not need to focus on all of these, but to based on what are the specific challenges that lighthouses or living labs want to address, you're going to choose some of these. As mentioned many times, 100 living labs and lighthouses are aimed for the EU mission to be active until 2030 towards the healthy soils. But when we say soils, when we say soil, we are considering all different types of soil. So agricultural, forestry, natural, industrial, and urban soils. What is also important for living labs, my colleague Milica will go much more in detail about the living labs, but very important is to have the bottom-up approach. So we don't want just to create new policy measures, for example, to solve some problems, but we want to have a bottom-up approach, which means to have multiple stakeholders organized into living labs, to identify problems, to find a solution, to test the solution and demonstrate, and then to have new measures designed according to the concrete and practical needs. Basically, what is expected when we say living labs is to have stakeholders such as academia, researchers, but also practitioners, land managers, regions, policymakers on local, but also regional level, to have businesses, but of course, citizens and international partners. What you can see now at the screen are 4 building blocks of the mission. Basically, we have a research and innovation. So, of course, the program should be should have a foundation on the research, and we want also to have better access to the data and to practices that need to be further tested through living labs and lighthouses. Then we also have a soil monitoring. We want to harmonize soiling and monitoring systems and reporting across entire EU. Living labs also contribute to the monitoring by revising already existing monitoring systems in comparison to what is going on at the site. And we want also to include citizens to increase soil literacy, to have society that is more informed about the importance of the soil and challenges of the soil. Finally, what you can see here is how all of these aspects affect living labs and vice versa. So basically, we want to test all innovations in the living labs, but also we want to inform research and innovation institutions about local problems, local issues. We want to test all innovations on specific sites within the living lab. We want to use existing monitoring systems, but also to provide the feedback. This is like bottom-up approach that we were talking about before. And finally, we want to include citizens and to provide information towards them. And now we will go more in detail about living lab concept and living labs and lighthouses focused on soil health. Thank you.
Thanks. Good morning. My name is Milica, and in the upcoming, let's say, 10-15 minutes, we'll try to see how European Union wants us to address the soil issues that Diana was explaining. So basically, from our dear moderator, we heard that the aim of this project is to support the creation of 100 living labs all over the Europe. So what those living labs should do, they should address the needs, the aims of a soil mission that the European Union published last year. So basically, what is living lab? So we have the living labs as a concept was created, let's say, 10-15 years ago. Nowadays, European, and without any support of the Commission. However, these days, Commission sees this as a great tool to address different types of problems. Currently, today here, we are focused on soil. However, that is not the only way that living labs can address the issues of a society. Something that is that Diana already mentioned is that we, in living labs, we support bottom-up approach, basically user-centric approach, place-based solutions that basically go from a problem, from regular people, that is then scaled up and addressed from many different angles. Multi-stakeholder approach is something that is a must in a living lab. Later on, we will see which stakeholders are a must for one living lab, but generally speaking, it is a necessity to involve different types of people with different background, with different experiences, with different power to support the solution, to the creation of solution. Real life settings to accelerate adoption. Real life, so basically living lab that shouldn't be considered as a laboratory in some university, but a live setting with a problem and with potential solutions. So basically we can be here one living lab, depending if we have the problem or we have all the necessary people involved. And then so contains several sites: farms, forests, city parks, or at a regional or sub-regional level. Basically, living lab can address one small problem that is local, I mean in one city block. However, that can also address larger regional, sub-regional issue. Later on, we will see some examples, so you will be able to grasp what level of a solution we can support in these projects. On the other side, soil health lighthouses, that is one example in the field which can be seen as a role model. Let's call it like that. So a showcase good practice and upscale solution. We can, I can also, okay. So regarding the scale, as we said, we can have regional, sub-regional, local ones. That can be one farm, that can be one forest, that can be one city park, that can be one parking place. We'll see later on that is renewed to be a city park. Regarding the activities, basically a living lab, generally speaking, coordinates experimentations and all the other partners, while lighthouses are basically implementing the particular activities. And what is the crucial for lighthouses is our demonstrations. So the aim is not just to solve some problem, but basically to demonstrate, showcase, to present it to other people, to other regions, maybe within the same country or within Europe, to inspire others. Likewise, we can also go in other lighthouses, see how they solve the solution. Maybe they solve a problem, maybe we also have this similar problem, and be inspired to address in a similar way the problem. And now I mentioned several times different backgrounds, different position of the people that must be involved in every living lab. Basically, we have academia, so schools, colleges, universities, research institutes, and so on and so forth. So we need to have this academic background, science to support the solving of a problem. Then we have industry. So those who are basically in business, because we know that academia is a non-profit, usually speaking, non-for-profit, but we also do need those that are business-oriented, that are solving a problem within their circle. Those firms, companies, SMEs, startups. On further examples, we will see who they can be. In majority of cases, they are startups that try to link different fields, so that they have a multidisciplinary approach to the business. We have government, so public sector, regional, local government, different types of entities like ministries or agencies, public administration. Basically, we need the high-level support to be able to address the solution, to address the problem. Maybe not, we cannot say that the law will be changed just because of the living lab. However, we must create awareness among people that have the power to change, or at least to suggest changes. We need to have them included in the living lab. Last but not least, the citizen. So basically those that feel some pain or that have some problems, that have some issues, that detected the problem. So bottom-up approach. So basically, living lab, the aim is to co-create a solution that address some societal challenge and improve, in our case, of course, in our case, improve soil health and related ecosystem issues. Activities that can be implemented within the living lab: co-creation, co-development, experimentation, research. We have academia here with us, networking, knowledge exchange, and of course, demonstration. Participants, as I mentioned in the previous slide, so public-private people partnership, real users. We will later on see in the examples who those real users are. And of course, demonstration with a wider public policy arena and those that are not in the first place involved within the living lab. Context, basically the important thing is that is place-based approach with a real life context. So we cannot be in some office with a great view on a park, but basically we need to be within the problem, where the real problem is. And of course, openness, communication, dissemination. So openness to be ready to hear other people's opinion on the same problem, on the same issue, and how we can all together solve it. So why implementing the living lab? Why Europe is currently supporting so much living labs? They are aware that complex challenges cannot be solved by a single entity. Regardless how great that entity is, one position is just not enough. Then lack of trust between stakeholders, that is also an issue which a tool like a living lab can address. Different approaches, so we already mentioned it, different goals. Of course, that academia and industry have different goals. However, with this co-creation approach and joint work on the same problem is something that can make those different stakeholder groups talk the same language. Practical solutions are not evaluated, so many times we have solutions that are in the market, but they're not used. And those that created those solutions don't have a feedback from people that should be actually using it. Lots of motivated farmers, still difficult for them to get heard. This is the examples for farmers, so for agricultural land, but generally speaking, this can be applied to any other user of the innovation. So cooperating in a multi-stakeholder team makes you, let's see, become inspired, learn to think outside the box, better understand each other, accept different perspectives. So basically, we make ourselves richer. But if we really honestly go into this and openly try to understand the other side of the story, the other side, the other stakeholders, and basically, if we all jointly address the problem, then it can actually be successful, and then the later stage it can even influence the policymakers, and some changes are really possible. Again, let's see what to consider when setting up a living lab. So, operation, experience, commitment, openness, communication, basically what we are talking today. Users, we need to have, carefully consider who are stakeholders that might have influence on a problem, and to engage them properly, considering their values, the reality, the context, and so on. Organizations, so partnership, management, governments, infrastructure, as in every entity, and business model, to try to see how this living lab might have sustainability, a life after one project. So living labs are all over Europe at this moment. Within this project, we are partnering with ENOL, European Network of Living Labs. And there, if you go to their website, you will see a lot of different living labs all over the world, basically. We have, for this project, we have agricultural living labs, urban forestry, and industrial living labs. And I suggest you will have these materials. I suggest that you go to Prep Soil project, because that is a sister project to our. And there you will be able to find more information about different lighthouses and living labs that are addressing soil health mission issues. Sorry. Oh, okay. This is it. So basically, let's try to see what you will be able to see in the Prep Soil project, but and the real examples of what it actually means to have a living lab. What is that a creature that we're talking this morning about? I will start with, of course, our example. That would be for us the easiest one to explain. So Precision Agriculture for All is a living lab that is one of the first in Europe to address precision agriculture, and the first living lab in Serbia. It was established on a research institute, Bioscience Institute. Bioscience it tries to merge two fields that are at the first moment not so related, IT and biosystems. When we were established in 2014, it was really a science fiction to merge IT and agriculture. However, these days we see that this is a reality. What we tried to do, we saw that our researchers, so basically IT engineers, have great solutions and really have knowledge. However, the implementation of that knowledge was in great scientific papers and on conferences. But we said, okay, Serbia is not so rich country. We have a lot of agricultural land. Is there anything that we can do to support the agricultural production? All those people that are working. And then we said, okay, yes, but how to make our people, our scientists, address agricultural needs? So we tried, okay, we need to have farmers. So those that are, so those basically that should use the solutions that are created in one scientific institute. However, then we realized, okay, they have a lot of issues. We speak different languages. And they are looking for solutions that they can buy. And we are not for profit. We can develop, test, and so on, but we cannot sell. And then we invited startups in the scene and said, okay, who are startups that are into IT, into programming, into maybe some sensors, so hardware production, but that can address the needs of our farmers that we gathered around us. Okay, we also gathered them, and we actually got great results. Our solutions were tested, we received feedback. For some other things, we even didn't know that those problems exist. However, then after talking with farmers, we realized, okay, this can be solved by this and that algorithm, or by different filters on a satellite imaging analysis. And at that, in one moment, we said, okay, but we should communicate this somehow to our policymakers, to our government. We were lucky that we were funded by local government of our province, and they maybe should change some regulation about satellite imaging. And then, so out of our work, we suggested some changes. At this moment, we're implementing the project Digital Village. So we're trying, because the problem is to persuade people, farmers, that the technology can really help them and help every day-to-day activities. And we had just one farm where people could come and see the solutions. We were joking that it's like IKEA for agriculture. However, we realized that it is just one farm with a really local influence. We had a lot of people on our open days, but it's local. Then we said, okay, what is bigger than one farm? Bigger is entire village. To see what is the impact of digital transformation of agriculture in one entire village. We're currently implementing that. We supported them with the infrastructure. We put that, because basically, if you don't have internet, we cannot speak about precision agriculture in some remote parts of a country. We put that there, our meteo stations, our sensors, and nowadays we are working more and more to explain how they can use, for example, our application, mobile application, to monitor their fields and to have actually data supported decisions on their field, on their land. The next one is the OMKI, On-Farm Living Lab, that is based in Hungary. They're agroecology focused, and they have a lot of different fields where they test their solutions. Basically, they try to keep the old seeds, so old seeds of tomato and other vegetables, and to support their further growing all around the country. Of course, since they are focused on agroecology, they implement different types of agroecological support measures and communicate that with their farmers. So this is also agricultural living lab. Then we have another one. It is okay here in Krakow Technology Park. This is industrial living lab, so completely different from the first one, from the first two ones, and it is a one-stop shop, as they like to say it, for business operating in Poland. Basically, they have a toolbox for clients to develop better and faster. Basically, they are Science and Technology Park, and they provide different types of services that are not so common for Technology Park. They created an entire ecosystem around them. They have more than 350 entrepreneurs within the park, and however, they also tend to apply to different types of European projects and to partner with different entities. So both from academia, from industry, from government. and they have a lot of different initiatives that include several green projects. So basically, they tend to be in line with what the Commission, since Poland is part of European Union, what Commission is advocating for, but also what is happening on the horizon in terms of sustainability, and generally speaking, the technologies that are influencing our lives. Torino City Lab, so this is urban living lab, completely also different from the previous ones. What they did, so this is the initiative to create more accessible conditions for companies and other interesting parties to respond to specific challenges within the city. Their aim is to create a city that actually all people, all citizens like to live in, and to try to make it more convenient to different types of citizen. Basically speaking, so what they did, in front of one museum, there was a huge parking, and they said, okay, but is there any possibility that something else is instead of that huge parking? So they created a park. They created the park. They removed all the layers of asphalt, yeah, and restored the area by backfilling of soil and topsoil, and created pedestrian places, but also the underground utilities. Of course, when we so not so rich countries see this example, it looks like impossible. However, it is possible. There are funds. Just the idea is a necessity. European Union nowadays finances a lot of different activities that actually were born among citizens. It is just important to find the appropriate call and to appropriately address and present the idea and the solution, the impact that the change will have on everyday lives. Oh, sorry. So after we heard that the project aims to fund, to support the foundation of 100 living labs all around Europe that should address soil mission issues. So not just agricultural land, but also forest land, also urban land. And when we heard how, so the tool is a living lab to address all those issues, let's now see how, basically. So there will be two open calls, two calls from the Commission, one this year, one in the next year, that should address exactly this, the creation of living labs all over Europe. The first one, the deadline is 20th of September. So this year, this is a single stage submission. So I don't know if you're familiar with the European Union calls. Single stage means that you just write one application and submit it, and that's it. No further writing and further evaluation. This is a research and innovation action. This is a type also, if you're not so much involved in European projects, this means that 100% of funding for any actor, any stakeholder that is in the proposal will be funded 100%. This is not the case with all the types of projects that the Commission is funding. However, this they perceive as a quite important, and quite important that every actor, regardless if it is non-profit or for-profit, fulfill their everything that they can do in order to address the topic. So what are the conditions for this call? So 4 to 5 living labs for each application in at least 3 different member states and or associated countries. Basically, in other words, at least 3 countries are needed in every proposal and 4 to 5 living labs. So this is a minimum. I think that you may now ask yourself, okay, how to find living labs in other 2-3 countries? This project will also have the matchmaking component. So basically here in this leaflet that you have, take a look about the steps of this project. So we have national events. This is one of the national events. So we have 43 countries with this type of event. Then we will have thematic events, so soil health, agri-food, business care, and so on and so forth. Those will be online, so easier to monitor. You will have training materials. We will have also capacity building online courses, help desk, so Q&As will be answered, and matchmaking B2B events, matchmaking cross-regional events, both online and offline. So the aim, our aim, is to support the creation of living labs. And also we know that find a partner in Europe, especially if that is still not established, is very difficult. It is difficult to find ones that are established, but those that are not established even more. So we will have in the upcoming period more events and more tools to support the matchmaking among different partners, potential partners. So basically, in this soil health 0108, co-creating solutions for soil health in living labs, 36 million euro is total funding for entire call. However, we expect that 3 applications will be funded. So 3 projects will be funded, basically meaning that 12 million per project will be funded, will be allowed. So basically, if we consider that they said it's minimum 3 countries with 4 to 5 living labs, we can see that this is the really minimum, because probably they expect more. So more than 3 countries, more than 5 living labs. However, 12 million for 3 years project, it is substantial funds for this type of activities. Next year, we will have 0109, carbon farming in living labs, slightly different topic, however, also linked. 12 million funding expected, 1 application to be funded. So similarly speaking, the important thing is, as Diana presented, what are 8 thematic focuses. The important thing is to try, when establishing a consortia and when establishing the proposal, to try to address those issues. One approach could be that some living labs address some topics, the others other topics. However, you may consider having cross-fertilization, co-creation. So those are those buzzwords that you will see in the application, to try to learn from each other, to try to address if similar issues are there, to try to address them jointly. So I'm not saying that is the correct way. Every proposal will have its own methodology and its own approach. However, consider not something that is definitely a must is not to be a silos within the project, but to jointly address soil issues. So again, I'm going back to Prep Soil project. They will try to synthesize soil needs and drivers of change across 21 EU countries. You see them in the map. Of course, our countries are not involved here. However, there is a good overview of what are the main issues all over Europe. So we can try to already, so before these matchmaking events and matchmaking platform, we already can have a clue what is happening where in Europe and where we can find adequate partners to address, also to complement our solution. So here is also one of the tables with regional soil needs. There are some specific soil characteristics that are really unique in some parts of Europe. However, some of them are common for European land. So basically, we can see that, for example, in Central Europe, in continental climate, the structure is quite important, but that is also in Lithuania also important, and in South Europe, in Portugal. However, some others are not, or salinization, that is important, let's see, in Portugal, in Italy, and maybe in Ireland. However, based on, and I really suggest you to visit Prep Soil the website to identify what could be interesting for you. So basically, this is a time for engagement, but we have basically to have, yeah, this is what I mentioned within the leaflet. Basically, we'll have 43 this type of events to facilitate creation of local living labs online and along engagement events. We will have different types of materials ready for you, trainings, support, and so on and so forth. So thanks a lot. The last slide. Oh, okay, there is more. Of course, like, follow, subscribe to our social media, where we will have all the information basically presented. And yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much, Milica and Diana. Thank you very much for the impressive example that you brought to us, that really light us by exampling, and in the same time, it was very inspiring and very, for sure, constructive and information given to us. I really thank you for what you share with us about the mission of the project, about the living lab and the lighthouses, and for sure, which will be the next the news that are coming in the September. It was the first call. So this is that we really have to be fulfilled with this and to be enforced with all the tools that you brought to us. Yeah. We will have, after the second panel, we will have the engagement session that even the audience in the in person and on online, that can send to us and they can address to us questions. And for sure, we will come to you back in the engagement session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'm so happy to I'm very happy to have on the floor now to see how is this, how this problem that we have until now discussed about is in the Albania context. And we would like to know how Albania is going in the same line with the Horizon Europe strategic plan. For this reason, we have invited 3 experts in this field, which is Professor Enkeleda Gjenali, Olsi Nika, and as well Elisabetta Susaj. So I'm very happy that we have today 3 experts in very particular fields, and it's in the line of this project. Thank you very much for coming today. I would like to introduce shortly 3 experts, which is Enkeleda Gjenali, is a principal lecturer of Polytechnic University of Tirana. She has 30 years experience, professional experience, including main aspects of water management, such as integrated policy development, integrated water resources management, coastal resources management, and as well particular technical expertise in water system. She is a key player in Albania's donor coordinator activities at the highest level within the government of Albania. We have as well Olsi Nika. He is executive director of Eco Albania. Olsi is an environment biologist and an expert in biological assessment of water quality. He is participating in various project related to the biological monitoring and environment. His main research interest is related to microalgae, water ecology, and conservation of marine ecosystem. Since 2013, he has been engaged in the implementation of the Saving the Blue Heart of Europe campaign. As well, welcome to Professor Associated Elisabetta Susaj, lecturer of Western Balkan University. She is an environment expert with a long experience in the field of environment education, lecturer of environment and impact assessment, strategy impact assessment as well. Author of several important studies in the field of agronomy, environment, horticulture, and biotechnology. She is as well leading and implemented many projects in these fields granted by your Albanian government, OJQ-të, and the European Union. Thank you very much for being here with us. Even though we know that your schedule is very, very busy, I would like to give you the floor and please share with us your knowledge. Thank you, Professor Enkeleda. Apple. You missed the apple, I think. Do you need the apple?
Yes. Doesn't help a lot because we have so many instruments in our hands, but thank you. First of all, I would like really to say to you that we can have great examples, as it has been previously shared with us, coming this from Albania, and this is from one of the elements which really cause damage in the atmosphere. And on the land. So my presentation is called Turning Soil Contamination into Treasure. It's really tricky, and you are going to say what she's going to say. Okay, I'm really happy to share that to be inspired for this presentation, I started to really read quite a lot in order to come prepared here, but even to join different, let's say, perspectives to one lab. And we have really the metaphor coming from European Union. This is not invented by me. And they're saying, let's really think that we have one world, and this world is like an apple, and 2/3 of the apple is ocean, and only 1/3 is the land. And this part of the land, I'm going to keep it because in Albania it's not really, it doesn't make so many sense to say so many words, lands and soil, but in English it does make a lot of sense. So this is the land, but this land has a lot to say because a lot of parts in percentages, and these are in the slides, are coming from the area that they don't have rain, or there are parts of the world that they are so cold. There are parts of the world that they are too hot to grow crops. There are parts of the world we cannot really plant anything because no rain is coming from God. And if we go on and on, this comes really to only this skin of the apple. And this is represented in the picture there, because when we plant, we are interested 2 meters deep. We are not interested in more than that. So if we come to this, what we should save for our global market and our food, we absolutely need really to conserve this skin, which really is only this part of the apple. I tried to take it out, but I have not done it because I have a purpose on that. This skin, which looks really good, and we are saying, okay, at least we have something, but even this has a lot of threats. They are coming from different angles. And as in the first panel it has been discussed, we have the climate change, sealing, erosion, contamination, landsliding, and the erosion is going to be presented from the other professor. And we have salt, which has increased, and this occupies a lot of lands, etc., etc. So we don't have anymore the entire skin. We have pieces of the skin. And at the end, what is remaining is only this bit. And I'm going to keep this bit till the end of my presentation. And this bit is absolutely when we really stand, when we really live, when we really eat, when we really have our life going on. And this piece is the soil, which, to be honest, I put a note at the end of this to say soil is not a renewable resource, protect it. So I'm going to connect this with one of the threats. I'm not expert on agriculture, but being expert in water, which is one of the fields which copes so much with agriculture, I'm just explaining to you how a wastewater treatment plant can really play a big role, not only in terms of 100 living labs and lighthouses, but even in the context of Green Deal and circular economy. We generate goods from this kind of investments we make on wastewater treatment plants. And these goods are water, which is treated and can be used in agriculture, energy. We can really produce biosolids. We can produce part of this, which we can incorporate with the natural soil, which sometimes might be not really in a good condition, but this really gives life to it. In addition, we can really produce phosphorus. Phosphorus is going to be really lacking in the future. Maybe the entire reserve of the natural phosphorus is really up to 2050. And after that is going to be lost. How we can find it, how we can really put our energies in order that this really comes back in Albania. So I'll walk you through 4 topics: current status of wastewater treatment plants in Albania, EU directives, this on urban wastewater treatment directive and sludge directive to be used in agriculture, and these are from European Union, and I'm going to say to you where we stand with transposition and the implementation of this topic. Sludge management strategy, it's fresh from the launch of the first draft of this strategy, which is going to cover 2020-2050. I know that in Serbia, you have this strategy. Green Deal, circular economy, and case studies fresh from Albania is going to be the last point of my discussion. So let's say where we stand with Albania. I'll show you a magical table, please. This is a table, I die for it, and I live for it, because we did not know what does it mean a wastewater treatment plant in 205. In Albania, we have had the first our born baby as a wastewater treatment plant, which means that we're throwing the wastewater whenever we were able to, causing damages to the environment, and we are not really able to think about what we are just talking today. But it's not long history, which means that all Balkan countries are so smart countries, and they really have tried to do the best in order to catch the rhythm and really to do our best for the environment and to turn, as we're discussing today, one of these elements into part of these living labs that we would intend to create as European Union. The first 14 treatment plants, they are in operation. I know that you are not familiar with this, and you are going to say, "It's wow, you can't believe that in Albania we cover 13% of wastewater by wastewater treatment plants, and we have installed even for some small industries, and we have good plans that they are going for other treatment plants." And you see four first ones are under implementation, and the other ones that they are the design and the feasibility study has been completed. We have 5 landfills, since we have Eco Lovisia here, that they have done really a lot of work towards landfills in Albania. These are sanitary landfills, and they have incorporated wastewater leachage of the landfill, which we have again the presence of the treatment plant. And for few prisons in Albania funded by European Union, they have installed wastewater treatment plants. So let me walk you through these directives. Urban Wastewater Treatment Directive is one of the directives which is, let's say, a role model directive in order to cope with sludge, to cope with water which is treated, etc. So in Albania, we just have identified 165, if I'm not wrong. We have delineated the agglomerations. We have designated 18 sensitive zones. Directive specific implementation plan, it's the document which sends us to the door of the European Union, has been recently prepared, and the draft strategy for sludge management in Albania has been prepared right now. So in Albania, we have standards when we discharge the water after being treated, which might be discharged into the sea, might be discharged in the agricultural land, etc., especially when we have a secondary treatment, because we have not taken out let's say, nitrogen and phosphorus, that they are nutrients. So if we are obligated to go for tertiary treatment, we have the standards. And to be honest, these are a copy-paste of European standards. If we are talking standards, to do copy is really the best. Even said this from professors. Next slide, please. On sludge, we have fully transposed this directive, and we have zero implemented it since 2015. But this directive at least gives us really a lot of space now, a lot of flexibility now to interfere and maybe to propose what we are talking today. So in this slide, you have all these standards that they are comparison between Albania and European Union, which means that we are really in line with them. Sludge management strategy is the last document, and this document is covering 2020-2050, and I'll reveal some news on that regard. The first slide really tells about wastewater treatment plants classification, which means that they are going to be treated in a secondary level, in a tertiary level, or in combination of secondary and tertiary, and when this, what the size of treatment plant deserves to have such. Next slide, please. Here is what has been the result after 2 years of work. Believe me, there have been so many calculations, so many Excel sheets and interlinks. Really a fantastic work in terms of coming to a result which does not select political treatment plans, but it selects when the treatment plans really fulfill the criteria. So we are going to have 114 wastewater treatment plants on 2050 in order to cover the entire country. But this good news goes with, let me say, bad news, because a lot of our treatment plants are going to be small size. And when we generate small size treatment plants, means that we will generate really little quantity of water, a little quantity of sludge here and there. But can we leave it like that? When we treat things as a retail, they are too expensive. But if we can go in bulk, this really comes cheaper. So next slide, please. Just to give you the quantity of sludge we are going to contribute to this piece, if we can really put it as part of this lab, 100 labs, we are going to produce 40,000 dry solids, ton dry solids per year, which means that it's another amount of solid waste, if I can put it like that, in order that we should think today what we can do for saving it for the tomorrow. If we save it for tomorrow, means that we are going to use it meantime, but we should use it in a smart way. And thanks God that we have a lot of instruments like this instrument you have launched here today for Albania, at least community, which gives really a lot of sense how to do and deal with this, let's say, solid waste, which needs to be absolutely treated in a best way and profitable way for any citizens in Albania. Where this sludge is going to be grown? In 3 parts, maybe in Tirana, in Vlora, and maybe in Durrës. These are the largest areas that they're going to grow sludge, let's say. But these are not coming in the area that we are mostly interested, like, for example, in Fier region, in Berat region, when we have a lot of crops, let's say. But nevertheless, for that reason, we have really installed the concept in our national strategy, which really comes to, we call them sludge management regions. So in Albania, we're going to have to install 8 labs, if we can put it like that in the terminology of this event today. But they are going to cover the entire Albania. Let's take an example. For example, let's call it Elbasan, one of them. And you see there are a lot of treatment plants that they are coming together. Next slide, please. The idea behind is that in this green dot, we can really transport all the sludge from these little treatment plants in order to grow more sludge and really be able to use this large quantity in agriculture land or for energy purposes. Next slide. So this is a, let's say, a type of direct investment we can do from the sludge to the land in order to the soil in order to improve the quality of it. But to be honest, we know the theory. Currently, there are no experiences in Albania such as it's only one project under going. It's in the initial phase in Vlorë, really talking about this subject. And we have we lack marketing, certification, product branding. We lack handbooks and manuals that they are coming if we need and will start to implement the urban wastewater directive and the sludge directive to be used in agriculture. These are really two good slides, one slide, but with one graph and one table, which shows what we are going to do with these 40,000 ton dry solids per year that we are going to produce in 2050. And this has been split in three, let's say, sessions. One is covering today up to 2030. The other one is covering 2030 to 2040, and the last one is 2040 and 2050. And why we have chosen to do like that? We have done it in order to, first of all, to convey with all European instruments that they are calling to reach here and there up to 2030. But we have another call, which is, I think, the beauty of all calls that European Union has done. This is a Green Deal and circular economy mostly, which I like is the most, which suits so good on all instruments we can use for really creating as much as we can. But you see, slightly in 10 years from now, we are going to grow this and we are going to save this land, this sludge, and we are going to put it into operation for after 2030. But at least this plan is a good plan. I brought here, it is very interesting, I was attending another conference, and a friend from Germany, a friend from Holland, and one from Sweden, they were just representing their cases, what they have done with their sludge. And it's really quite interesting why the world sometimes goes not in the same direction as we would like really to use the soil, because up to 2005, Germany went for using land 50% in agriculture, and the other 50% of sludge which has been grown from the wastewater treatment plant, they used it for incineration. But slowly, they are just going now out, let's say, using 25% more for agriculture and 75% for energy production. In Holland, they have done this for many years before. So in 2005, they stopped using the sludge come from the treatment plant. They stopped to using it in agriculture, and they turn the whole sludge to use it for energy production. So let me amuse you with few cases in Albania right now. We have one case. This is IBA company. Their businessmen are really smarter than people that they are in the government, because they have really taken advantages of a lot of instruments that are coming around and good experiences from the Balkan region. So what they have done, they produce 1 million eggs per year. They generate 40 tons per day waste. So from this, they really try to work with a bit with this manure, and 20 tons per day goes in plastic bags to some farms in Lushnja, Divjaka area. We Albanians know that these crops coming from this area are really the best. They have committed only in the first phase. They are now looking how they can use this second phase for maybe part of the production to be used for energy production. It's another instruments. It's another private company. It's called Porto Romano Nindurus. There is really a large area. It was a businessman who tried to say, what can we do with vessels that they are coming to Durrës port, and maybe they need to take the water which has been really used during the trip. So it's a sucker car which comes and sucks the whole water, which has been is really dirty water, and they treat it until they produce kind of, let me say, diesel. It's not diesel, it's another word. In Albania it's mazut, and they sell the entire diesel coming from this wastewater treatment plant to the agriculture for greenhouses. They need kind of 39 to up to 60 degree to grow crops for the entire year. I can go on and on, but what I like the most is coarse wastewater treatment plants. I brought here for you some monitoring data. What is the quality of the sludge which is produced from the wastewater treatment plant? And as you can see, these are really very good data and promising one for using them into agriculture. Next slide. And enjoy this picture. All these fruits has been grown inside the wastewater treatment plant in Korça, but we cannot really, the Korça people, they couldn't sell this. They use it for themselves because this is not allowed officially. We don't have license, we don't have manuals, we don't have legal instruments that they allow us to do this out of treatment plant. But this is a live example, a great example. And if you talk with wastewater treatment plant people, that they are so excited about this achievement that they have made by including sludge into their land, which is part of the treatment plant. And that's it. Soil is a non-renewable and resource. So I call for, I'm just appealing here to protect it. This is the only thing we have in our life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Enkelida. It was very inspiring, and frankly speaking, I get to know a lot of knowledge about what is going on in Albania, and it is very hope. I mean, it's a lot of hope there, and thank you very much for bringing and for lighting us up. Now we are going to bring a very interesting example, and it's a lovely example, I can say even personally, because it's more than many years that we are discussing about this issue now, that we have a very beautiful river in Albania, which is called Vjosa, and one of the pioneers and lovers of this advocacy was Eco Albania, and that's why we have today also Nika, who is executive director of Eco Albania. Thank you, Olsi.
Well, thank you. Until the presentation is ready. It was very nice example, by the way, with apple skin. But actually, if we are talking about the water, especially the fresh water, that is even less than the little piece of skin. It's less than 1% of the fresh water that we can and we are able to use in our everyday life, but also to sustain ecosystems. And just a little figure for you to know is that the freshwater ecosystems are declining dramatically. Like the Living Planet Index, it shows that it is now minus, let's say, 80%, close to 80%, which means that from 1970s that this index is being calculated, 80% of our freshwater ecosystems are now extinct because of what we have done to the freshwater ecosystems. And it is true, the soil, it's not a renewable resource. The water it is, but we have to preserve the water as well. So my presentation will be focusing on the campaign for, I don't know what is happening there, for the freshwater ecosystem. Let me present you the Vjosa River in Albania. It is a river of close to 300 kilometers from the Greece mountainous area to the Adriatic Sea. This is the upper part, the middle part of the river, and it really presents a real natural freshwater ecosystem, which is rare nowadays in the Central and Western European countries. How it all started, I'll try to make a little journey on our campaign and try to be short. So in this map, you may see the hydrologic network of the Balkan Peninsula from Slovenia to Greece, where initially we assessed like 35 kilometers of rivers. And now I'm very happy to say that we are updating this continuously, and it's close to 80,000 kilometers of rivers. What we firstly assessed was the hydromorphological conditions of these rivers. And in all these riverine network that you've seen in the map, we categorize in five classes, let's say, of the rivers, and we mark them conventionally with different colors. As you may see in the first picture is the natural river, or the near natural river, which means that the river, it flows in its natural riverbed without any significant anthropogenic interference, let's say, or impact. Then is the class 2 and 3, which is very difficult to distinguish. So it means that a river is very slightly modified for different purposes. The class 4, which is in orange or yellow, I don't know how it is in your screen, is where the river is extensively modified, and then the red means there is not a river anymore. You may indicate is a different water body, it's a lake. And then we put all these assessment in a map, and as you may see, close to 80% of the rivers in the Balkan Peninsula in all these 80,000 kilometers of river belongs to the class 1 to 3, which are natural or near natural ecosystem. And if we compare, for instance, in the same categories or classes with Germany, you may see that there is a lot more blue in the Balkans. And that's why we called the campaign Save the Blue Heart of Europe. So the blue heart of Europe is the Balkan Peninsula. Then we did another assessment regarding the biodiversity, and it was amazing. The results were amazing because the Balkan rivers are still home to the, are still home to the endemic and what have remained species of the freshwater. So they are home to endemic mollusks, insects, birds, mammals as well. These are just some of the findings from the Vjosa, so nice and colorful creatures. And I'm very happy to share that there are close to 50 species that have been registered for the first time for the Albanian flora and fauna. And there are even 4 new species to science, which means that there are species that live nowhere else but in the Vjosa until they are not discovered elsewhere. One of the example is this one here is a stonefly, which is also named after the river. It's Isoper laviose. And then we did another assessment regarding the threats, and the major threat was the hydropower. But you can see here with this mark with the dots, let's say the black dots are the current existing hydropower on the same river stretches. But this is not the worst. We are talking about 700 of them, and this is what is coming, or it is planned to come. So the red one are the planned ones, and the yellow are the ones under construction. We are talking about close to 3,000 dam projects in all these rivers. Of course, the area is large, and we set up our priority river stretches, let's say, and one of them was the Vjosa. Let's make a little zoom into our country, into the Albanian perspective. In a few words, I might say that Albania is the worst country in terms of hydropower tsunami development because of the highest density of the river, of the hydropower. We are talking about 740 hydropower in a small country of not more than 3,000 kilometers of river. And interesting is that 90% of these hydropower are less than 10 megawatt installed capacity, which would bring no significant change into the energy budget if they all gonna build. And close to 40% of them are projected or are constructed or being constructed inside the boundaries of the protected areas network. Vjosa, of course, was not excluded from this perspective. So there were plans for 45 hydropower plants on the Vjosa catchment, meaning on the Vjosa River and its tributaries. And okay, the map, this is practically one of the pictures I like the most, is the midsection of the Vjosa. It's close to 3 kilometers wide, and it's really pristine and natural, which provides a unique diversity of a mosaic or true mosaic of habitats. And okay, the map, you could see only the dots, but this is the reality of how a hydropower looks into a river. So it's a real destruction and irreversible impacts that they cause. I mean, according to our experience, most of them are being constructed with an extremely weak EIA study. I mean, the environmental impact assessment studies, and they always not conduct a proper public consultation. So, according to our studies, there are a lot of figures that you may see, like 113 species and endemic species. But I want you to, I don't know if it's, no, it's there, to keep these figures. So 108 out of 113 species are dam threatened species or dam effective species, that they would go extinct if all this hydropower would get built. And this is how our campaign started to be vocal. Basically, these are the pillars of our campaign. So we try to bring all the puzzle stones in order to get the full picture. And how it initially started was to catalyze the activism for rivers. And how we did that was basically getting the information, making it or simplifying the language in order to be digestible for the local communities. And we've been almost in every forgotten remote village around the Vjosa, but also in the Balkans with our partners, to talk about what are the threats that dams may cause to the communities. And we got, of course, a reaction of the communities, because simply they have no clue what would have been the plan for their homes, for their lands, because of the effect from the hydropower construction. They immediately started to self-organize petitions and protests and whatever came afterwards. Another important pillar of the campaign was involving the science. I heard today that science is of course the best basis to come up with appropriate decisions, and that's been one of the also in our campaign one of the very important pillar. However, if I would stay on one more minute to this topic, is that of course the scientists have assessed the river in terms of hydrology, hydromorphology, biodiversity, water quality, and whatsoever, geology, etc. But what is really something extraordinary in our campaign, it was not only the involvement of the science as a traditional way, because normally the scientists are going to the site, they collect samples, they do the study, assess, they maximum, they can even prepare papers and present them in a conference, but that's it. While in the Vjosa, they have been really vocal, so they have spoken out loud for its preservation with their own voice. And here is, for instance, one of the pictures I like the most. It's an unusual press conference when the scientists are sharing the preliminary findings in the middle of, in a little island of the Vjosa, practically in the middle of nowhere, using a megaphone. And it's very hard to see this guy, for instance, that's Fritz Schimmer from the Vienna University. It's a professor emeritus sharing the preliminary data. And it's not like that, but they were also trying to simplify their language in a nice, colorful, entertaining event in the cinema in Tirana. talking about what are the ecosystem services of the free-flowing rivers. These guys, by the way, Bob Nyman is one of the experts on the freshwater from US. And another pillar has been the involvement of the artists for two reasons. First of all, is that the artists can transmit better the message for the preservation of rivers, and they can even touch emotions even of the decision makers, no matter how difficult this would sound. But of course, they can also mobilize the people. And the Artists for Vjosa has been one of our initiatives, starting with, actually they've been involved all sort of arts like pictures, painters, photographers, singers, actors, I don't know, ballet as well. We have organized last year. This one was a big concert we organized 5 years ago or 6 years ago in Tirana, where there was like 3,000 people gathered in the main square. And then last year was another concert organized in Tepelena, for instance, by the Vjosa River, with a message, Save Vjosa Forever. And there has been a lot of involvement from the very, very local and low level up to the Hollywood actors supporting the Vjosa. And this guy is not the only one who supports the Vjosa, actually, because it has been also others like Edward Norton and other actors, also Albanian ones. Another important pillar which has resulted really a game changer was the involvement of the environmental right. Basically, we have tried to establish the lawyers for rivers. And it has been really interesting when we filed the first lawsuit against the government and against the construction of one of the large dams in the Vjosa. It has been actually the first environmental case that went into the court, sent by the civil society and the local community. And the fact that the court proved us right was really inspiring for other cases to come, because we somehow created a precedent of having a legal standing in the court, and this is very, very important. We have used all other tools in terms of environmental right, like the Berne Convention, Aarhus Convention, Energy Community Treaty, and all other mechanisms of compliance internationally. So, of course, this has been the basis of creating toolkits how civil society and local communities can set up campaigns for the preservation of nature. So, and there are so many lessons learned, but this is one of the very best lessons learned, for us, especially when you are entering into the court. So even starting a case can help a lot, but be ready for a marathon. It's not a sprint, because we are still struggling in so many other court cases. Policy, of course, we have interfered a lot into policy making processes via advocacy and lobby work a lot. And of course, you may read one of lessons. Communication has been our real strongest tool to achieve, and communication is really, I think is the strongest tool to any other similar campaign. For instance, this is part of our website of the project. And it's also communication. When in a map, you may see what the situation is. And it has been very difficult to attract the media initially, but we set up a different strategy on first inviting the big names of the media to report about the Vjosa, and then all the national media followed. So they've been, Vjosa has been very much present into the media. This is another event which has been one of the game changers of the campaign, in an inauguration of the Vjosa Research Center, which is in Tepelena, by the way, and it's being used by researchers. It's a kind of fieldwork laboratory set up in Tepelena, and it got the name of Fritz Schima as well. So president of the Republic by then was part of that inauguration and was one of the political voices to protect the Vjosa internally, I mean, and then this caused the reaction of the other side, which was kind of good for the campaign, because then the attitude of the government started to change. Of course, we never give up also on our lobby and advocacy. This is me in the middle of the pandemic, sending officially a proposal for the proclamation of Vjosa as a national park to the Ministry of Tourism and Environment. Of course, we received no reply for months and months until because we are still on the communication part, until we started another communication campaign, which was the Vjosa National Park now. I don't know if it is. Yeah, So the idea was put side by side all our cultural heritage icons to give the message that if we are not willing to destroy those cultural heritage, why are we so much willing to destroy our nature ones? So that was the idea, and it was the message with the banners. They're huge, really huge banners. You may indicate by the Mother Teresa Square. So that was the message, that it was all across the Europe and in other continents as well. The last one was in Kenya, in Africa. And these are also part of the nowadays communication with all the social networks, which I'm not really into it, but this is a frame, if I'm not mistaken. So it reached up to a peak that the government decided to first give up from the hydropower, and then give, let's say, the Vjosa Nature Park, which is a category 4 according to the IUCN, and it did not include the tributaries. And until we were in June last year, when it was another public commitment from the Albanian government with the interference of the Patagonia. Patagonia is a Californian-based outdoor brand company. It's and their philosophy is very much into nature preservation. Just to let you know that they have been the main drivers for establishing 14 national parks in Chile and in Argentina, and now they are very much focused into the Vjosa. So they worked very much as a mediator between the civil society and the government after almost 10 years of battleground, let's say, and then it was and it's still very difficult to build the trust, you know, and that was the interference of Patagonia more than technical and financial support. So that has been in the summer 2022. So last year, basically very shortly what we have achieved is that we have been able to stop legally 2 large dams on the Vjosa and several other small ones. We opened the case into international conventions like the Berne Convention and Aarhus Convention, and even Energy Community Treaty. So as mentioned, government first decided the Vjosa to be a nature park. And final goal would have been the Vjosa National Park, that would have really means the first, Europe's first wild river national park. And this is now a reality. So it was last month, sign, not only in that piece of stone, but also officially that Vjosa now it's a national park, IUCN category 2, that includes all the free-flowing tributaries, which means or consists on 400 riverine kilometers in a 12,000 hectares. And this is just the beginning, because the next phase has officially started. That would mean the preparation of the effective management plan to be put in place and enlargement. And I'm very, very proud actually to not only been working on this campaign, but especially I'm very proud that a small country like Albania, a poor one with 100 problems and issues, gives to Europe and especially also even to the world a new model how nature can be preserved. So that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, all. Also, it was, I mean, you already impact me with your pathos and with the passion. What we have seen that experts like all of you three here can do such amazing work only if you love what are you doing. And you really transmit this to me, and it was very emotional one. Thank you for leading this project, and thank you for saving the heart of the Europe. Now we will have what is happening with the soil in Albania from the Professor Elisabeta Susaj.
That's my colleague. So we cannot stop standing. So yeah. So just to have an idea, because one of the objectives of the European Union deal agreement is erosion. But what is erosion? Because we have to talk about academia and then to go in details to propose, to give any proposal and to find the solution to solve these problems or issues that are expected or are already involved in Albania or in other countries. There is, in this picture here, the Mati Bridge or Zogus Bridge, which was constructed in 1927 and is a culture monument, but it is now the 7th most endangered monument in Europe for 2022. If you look there, you will find that the river has changed the direction. And why it is like that? Just because of the exploitation of the sand and gravels, you will see. And it is now, this bridge is already destroyed, but we have to think how to protect it and to solve that. But what is the erosion? We have to know something. We have to know some theoretical things and then to go in details to have proposals to protect the soil and to protect our environment in general. So the soil erosion will remove the upper part, the most fertile top layer of the soil that our food is coming. So we have to protect it. It is natural. In fact, erosion is a natural phenomenon, but it is also a human phenomenon now, because there are several activities, or almost all the activities of human that are related to the deterioration of the soil and to help this erosion, this phenomenon. And human factors are involved with deforestation, that in our country is going to be worse and worse if we don't stop it. And is overgrazing. It's not so problematic, or is not any big issue in our country, in fact, but there we have other activities, constructions, mining activities that is going everywhere, like the hydropower plants that also mentioned previously. And intensive agriculture or bad farming practices are some of these human factors that help the erosion. Help is not a good thing to say. There are several agents or natural factors that are helping the erosion or they're doing the erosion. Wind. Wind picks up several particles and blasts also large rocks. We see there, but if we see like the picture there, it's okay. But if we see what is happening right there, so it is a problem. In Albania, it can occur in mountain passes or in the coastal areas. So we have to think about glaciers. Glaciers are also doing the erosion, and they are moving big from small to many or to a big amount of tons of materials that are moving from glaciers. And it can happen in Albania, in Albanian Alps, or in mountainous areas in our country. Okay, if we see like this, like pictures, I'm saying that they look nice. But if we think about the erosion, they are not so good. Here is the picture of the gravity erosion that is coming from direct action of the gravity. That can be like creeps, rockfalls, slumps, landslides, or avalanches, and especially occurred in hilly and mountainous areas of Albania with unstable rocks or with layers with water under the layer of clay in Albania. It's found in several parts of our country. The water is one of the most important agent of the most important factors that is causing erosion. And erosion is determined is determined by the amount of the water, of the rain intensity, of the slope and speed and surface. And we can see everywhere pictures or images like this one here. Human factors influencing, as I previously mentioned, are bad farming practices, what are related to the agriculture, sand and gravel exploitations, quarrying, construction, forest fires, deforestation, that is a big problem in Albania. I will show you some data later on, what is going to the forests in Albania. And forest fires or burning the vegetations are human factors influencing the erosion, and mining activities also. There are several types of erosion, which coming from raindrops or splash erosions. What is coming from the raindrops at first, and this is the first erosion, the first type of erosion, and going to sheet erosions or real erosions, gully erosions, ephemeral gully erosions, and stream bank also as well, and shoreline erosions. All of these types are more or less involved in the erosion in Albania. But what is related to the agriculture, if we go, let's see, sheet erosion, it's one of the types of the erosion. But why do I need to know? Just because the agricultural land in Albania is a limited resource, is really limited resource, and not only in Albania, but all over the world. And because of several factors, we need to protect this, because 1 centimeters or 1 millimeters of the soil takes hundreds of years to be, so it is almost not renewable resource, as my colleagues told previously. Another type of erosion is really erosions that is creating small rills over the hillsides, which can go up to 0.3 meters or 30 centimeters, which is the top layer of the soil, and is the productive layers of the soil, or either fertile layer of the soil where our food is coming. If they are deeper than 0.3 meters, they can go as gully erosions. And they take place after these rill erosions, and they make deep gaps, they make gullies. Sometimes they break the continuity of a piece of land, which is enormous destruction of the land. Ephemeral gullies are wider than deeper. If we see here, it is going is going in the big area, in a wide area of one planted area, as we see there. And they tend to go wider and wider and not deeper, but up to this fertile layer of the soil. It can be removed by tillage, by normal agriculture practices, but it removes all the nutrients of the soil, and the soil will go without, we need to use more fertilizers just to protect this, or to have enough food produced. And what is the most impactful erosion agent in Albania is stream bank and shoreline coastal erosion. Naturally, lakes, streams, rivers are predisposed to have erosion during or due to the water moving of them. But we have to protect. We have to protect these river banks. If we say that, the picture there is taken in Skuray region, close to Milot. And as you see, I don't know if it is quite clear there. It's a big amount or a big area that it is eroded through years from Mati River, just because not good farming practices, or not or from the sand exploitation, which are legal or illegal. You can see there. I have taken some data from the Environmental State Report of 2021, published by the National Agency of Environment 22, and there they say that 57 or 58 hectares of agricultural land are eroded by only 6 rivers of Albania. Mati River was not included there, I don't know why, but just to say that this is a big amount, it's a big area that is eroded for 1 year. Imagine what is happening in our country. So we need to have projects, we have to propose projects just to protect our land from erosion. There you can see in that picture, in the wall, the coastal or shoreline erosion. Of course, it can happen naturally. Naturally, we can have accumulation in some parts, and we have eroded parts in other parts of the shoreline. But human activities are helping erosion, doing erosion. Why? Because of constructions that are made, are already applied or already constructed all over the our shoreline. Only in the in one part of our shoreline, from Port Shëngjin to Buna Estuary, for a period 1985 to 2021, there is around or about 11 hectares of the shoreline that is minus, so is gone, and the sea has come or in the country. But we are a small country. We don't have soil, we don't have land to lose. So we have to think, to make proposals, to for protection of our country, our land. Different practices are factors that affecting this stream bank or shoreline erosion. I'm not going to go in details, but I want just to show some pictures and some projects that we have done. Plants prevent erosion. So we don't need to cut all the plants. We don't need to deforest our forests, as we will see later on. What I did, what I'm going. Okay. As I said, we have so little land and agriculture land. Only 24% of our area or Albanian area is agriculture land. And the other part is forests and pastures. But even the forest, if you find in this data there is 1.31 million hectares, or around 46% of the Albanian areas. But even from the last year, it's a decrease of this forest area, and it was around 1.97 million of hectares. So 100 or more than 100,000 hectares of this forest that protect from the erosion, it was destroyed because several factors. One is deforestation, and the other one is the forest fires, which can occur by naturally or by human. Okay, so let's go. And about agriculture land, only 43% is in the plain areas or in the, let's say, western part of Albania, which is plain areas, and the other part is 23% is in mountainous regions, or 34% is in hilly areas. Why I'm asking, or why I'm saying these figures or this data is because this this part of our land is subject of erosion, because it is almost more than 300 meters above the sea level, so it is a subject of erosion. So just we need to protect. So it is under constant threat of erosion. I have written there. But why? Why we need? Why we need? We have we have to construct, of course. We have to build. We have to make neighborhoods and for people living, but we have to protect the thing. We have to protect our land. We have to protect our environment. There is a relationship, a strong relationship between deforestation and flooding. Global Forest Watch say that for a period of 20 years period, from 2021 to 2021, Albania has lost more than or about 40 2,000 hectares of tree cover, which means we have lost 6.5% of the tree cover since 20 or 2000 year 20. Let's go in. There is a picture of the flooding in Tirana, but why? Just because, or due to overbuilding, or to the narrowing of green infrastructures and green spaces in the capital. And this is flooding is not only from Lana, but from the rain and from the not good or bad solutions that we have done in our capital city. Sand and gravel exploitation. These pictures are from the Mati River in the segment Skuray-Milot. It's a short segment, it's not so long, but we have legal and illegal, but they are illegal. And when we have taken these pictures, they were coming to do some stupid things. Look at these pictures also, but because this helps the erosion. Exploitation helps the erosion and helps also the floodings that are going to, and we are going to lose land and space if we don't take or address measures or solutions to find this. And there is another picture, and is the Zogu Bridge that I presented previously. As you see, or as you have heard and seen, it is already fully damaged. And if we don't take measures, it will go. And with one of my students, we have find some problematic points just in that segment that I mentioned previously in Skuray-Milot, in a short segment in Mati River. And as I mentioned previously, the fires, even accidentally or human made, has destroyed a big amount of area of our forests. Forests protect, keep the water that's coming from the rain, and of course protect our soil. As I said previously, it was a strong relationship between deforestation and erosion and flooding. So about 10,000 hectares, it's a big amount for 8 years in Albania. There in that picture, it expressed the fires in the forest just in 2021, and this is taken from the National Forest Agency. So why? It helps the erosion. It's damage all the plants and the cover part of the soil or the cover soil, and will help the erosion. So it will destroy it much more. I mentioned that mining activities are helping the erosion. There are some pictures from Palaj in Mieda in Vaudes, Shkodër, as you see, not only pollute all the environment or the water, but they are also causing this erosion. It was my student there taking the samples, water samples that were coming out from the gallery. And there are some pictures from the remains of the human activities during or before 19th, that of course you can find pictures like this all over the country. There are some other pictures, remains from the copper enrichment factory in Mieda, where you can see only the environmental damages or environmental problems, issues, and also the erosion there. But okay, some academia and some researchers are doing, of course, are doing projects to protect. One of them, it was like this, it was flood planting in Erzeni River, which was founded by Brigade and was applied by the Polish University when I was part there. And it was for like innovation for protection of the part of the Erzeni River in the Pez-Helmos region to protect this using corey logs and planting the trees. That are environmentally friendly ways for the protection, and we'll see some pictures of the work or the moments of the work there, and work moments also are there. And it was part of our colleagues that were working there in this project. And I want to say like that we don't inherit the soil or the land from our ancestors, but we borrow them from our children. So we can work together, we can make proposals, and we can protect. We can protect just for other generations. And thank you.
Thank you, Professor Elisabetta. Thank you very, very much. It was insightful information that who is going to write the project. You already brought a lot of, you light them with very touchable problems, and they can have a lot of sources. And here we have 3 experts that can be as well furthermore following up. If I can say in your name what I am inviting them, if you would like to write the project here, we are a lot of science. Now we are in engagement session, which I will as well invite Milica and Diana, please, if you can join us here. Yes, please. Ja, that's your camera. Jest kamera, in ekran. Tylko iż, a spójrz na. So I will invite as well here in audience and as well online, I will invite to send us to address us questions about what they have heard and what they would like to know more, or if they need some information more that we can follow up with them. And please, I will invite you to scan this barcode, and you can as well address some questions in the meantime. So you can just shoot it. You can just make a picture. Or you can provide you with barcodes which are created. Yes. Helpful for you. Or provide them with a mic. Yeah, you can. So one of the questions that I have, maybe this is as well addressed to Milica, it's can we have some positive aspect of the living lab concepts?
So positive aspect in terms of some positive experiences out of activities, or?
I guess this is the meaning.
Yeah. Okay. So for example, we had one initiative to support young people to get to know more about agri-tech and technologies that can be implemented within the in agricultural production. So we created one curriculum for high school children that was tested. We had one test school, agricultural school, and for 1 year we were testing that curriculum. We provided them with laptops, with applications, with some sensors and so on and so forth. So basically the idea was that one day when they become decision makers in their fields, they know about the technologies and how it can help. Of course, technologies is being changed from day to day, basically. However, to have this mindset that they can make their lives easier with the technologies. And that was quite successful. And we had even a positive answer from the board of directors of high schools in Serbia.
Mm-hmm.
However, then COVID came and we didn't want to get into the online courses. We thought that children are overburdened with everything. We didn't want to continue with this, but in the following year or two, maybe we will continue with the testing of this curriculum. So that is the one concrete example with concrete outcome of the activities.
Thank you. So we can start with Paul. Which land use type does the organization? Can I? Be involved most, I guess. So what the audience is already focused on most. So the audience is already now replying almost 1/3 of each agriculture, forest, nature. Okay, we are now moving on. So it looks like it's fair. 1/4. Which of the challenges mentioned in the soil mission objectives can you recognize in your own region or in this country? So you can just choose 3 of them. How many seconds is this? Okay, somehow it was expected to.
Yes, the presentation was really inspiring. Basically, all three presentations were quite inspiring, and actually, sorry for jumping in,
Yeah.
but basically, I saw that we have a lot of similar issues, problems, and I must congratulate for what you've done. We couldn't done it with our years, but this is really great example, and I would be more than happy to share it in Serbia, how you did it as a good showcase.
Can we have one more try? So can you give examples of soil challenges that you have seen or experienced in your own region? I can give this as a homework, so everybody can think about it. I really thank you everybody for being here, and I'm so happy to have so much thoughtful and in science, and in the same time so many information given from the real field working and from the long experience that you can share with us. I will just need to introduce matchmaking, that it's a very good tool of the project, and then we will go with the informal networking. So feel free if you want to stay here or if you want to stay in your chair. So thank you very much for the hard working, for having a lot of experience to share with us. This is a very amazing time that we can exchange with the project in itself and for the sign-off of the project. Thank you. So I will just take only 3 minutes for, I can really promise 3 minutes, which is the introduction about the matchmaking. This is a tool that already we introduced in the beginning, that the matchmaking is one tool that the project in itself is using for the networking, because one of the main product of this project is having the network and exchanging experience, inspiring each other. And what is more important is that to work with each other. So that's why we would like to share just how you can be part of this matchmaking. And already Milica introduced which is eligible that could be part of the matchmaking. So everybody from the academia, NGO, from the individuals, from the civil society as well, that are part of, that they would like to be part of this project. Can we have the presentation? So it's just so simple. You just need to, this one here. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. I would just like to show you the performance. You just need to go to the website, that is this national.eu, and there is the matchmaking as well window. Can you go to the next one? I can. And you can just check the, yes, this is a performance that you can just check yourself there. You can make the login there, and then you can give all your references of the login that it is needed to be there. And then once you are part of this login, then you can as well be part of the networking, of the capacity building as well, the coming capacity building calendar, and as well the matchmaking with the others actors that you would like to be in. So I would just like you to try, and if you have the interest to be part of this matchmaking, this is a very constructive tool that they would like to enlarge. And as far as the the next call is September 2023. So this is a really good time that you should be part and as well to be involved with it. I would just like to leave you some information that, okay, it's the performance is very simple. Yes, as you can see, you can just make yourself what you would like to be a participant or a coach, because one of the biggest tools during this matchmaking is as well, the methodology they are using is as well mentoring. So they are trained by a trainer. So each country will have its own trainer. So that's why big part of this matchmaking is not only, as I said, the academia is very important, because they could be the trainer of during this process. And then you can just put your personal and interest data that it's needed to be show all there, and kind of the address, and then you have a lot of personal, institution, and as well professional information that needed to be planned, needed to be in field. So in the end, it will be part of the B2 Match platform. So here you are. So the performance is very simple, and I'm sure that even people that have never used before this kind of platform, it's very friendly used. Then you will be informed about all kinds of activities, as I said, mentoring, capacity building, engagement meeting, and the meeting like we had today. Thank you very much. I really would like to thank the panelists, Olsi and Keleida, and as well Elisabetta for their experience given to us, and as well for being part of this activity. Thank you, Diana and Milica, for helping us with the introduction of this session. So wish that this is just the beginning for Albania, and now we are on the 20th activity of this project, of Nations project. So 23 are coming, and that's why I will really invite you to follow in nation.eu, that there are all the sessions from all the countries, and as well Albania will be there. You will be followed as well with all the material that you have been introduced in the first slides, that you will be for with the material that we did have. So all the material that we did have today, the Zoom meeting, and as well the pictures and all kind of information. Of course, if you will be part of the matchmaking, more information will be on the way. Thank you very much, and I will really like to stay with us, and because we will have soon the informal meeting. So thank you for being here. So guys, here we have a